Hello, hello. Can you guys hear me?
Hey, yeah. Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Nice. How you guys doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
Very, very good. So, why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
Yeah, typical Zach has just gone to go get his mouse, but
Okay. You need
I'll
that.
I'll introduce Zach for me, but for him. So Zach is the lead of game design at Aradena, and I am one of his underlings slash do all of his work for him. I'm
Mhm.
Josh, gameplay designer, and then Seth. Seth, you're still here, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Introduce yourself.
Content and marketing guy for Aradena, in charge of all the good old content that you see that goes out on the socials. And yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Yo.
There's Zach.
Hey, what's up, Zach?
Oh, hey man, sorry. Didn't realize you were here.
Yeah,
How you doing, mate?
He just introduced you, but if you want to go ahead and say a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I'm Zach Sedo West, game designer at Aradena. I also have a horrific migraine, so you might have to
Ooh.
bear with me a little bit.
I'm
But
sorry to hear that.
been with the project for literally about 2 days after the guys had the idea for it.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, it's been a long 2 years. We're
Well,
finally here, man.
that's going to be that's my first question is like what were your guys' inspirations for either joining the project or starting the project wherever you started in that process.
Yeah. So I was actually at university, and I'm friends with the founders. So that's sort of how I got into it. And we obviously worked pretty tirelessly throughout the summer to get the project started. And when the NFT drops and it all went well, I pretty much quit uni the next day. I was going into my PhD. So yeah,
Wow.
always been a long time massive gamer nerd, and yeah, made games in my spare time and with friends, and yeah, call it a really it's nice to be working on something I'm actually passionate about rather than my PhD, which I didn't want to do. So yeah, that's pretty much me.
Sweet. I mean, that is cool to hear. You quit. You say you quit the next day.
Oh yeah,
Well,
literally rung up the uni the next day and
what was
said
it
I wasn't
about
coming
it?
back.
Like, was it like because you saw the potential in the project? You saw, how smart those guys were.
Yeah, pretty much, man. It's just like the amount of passion that went into it.
Hmm.
And it's just nice to, work on something that I was passionate about as well. I could, we came up with the idea for the game and all them sort of things. And yeah, it was just amazing and sort of a no-brainer to quit my PhD and start doing this. And yeah, it's just amazing. It's been a long 2 years, and it's nice to finally be able to say we have a game. It feels good.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's probably the definition of bullish, quitting
Yeah,
uni like
yeah.
that. But great to hear that. And for Seth, even you and sorry, it's Seth and it's Zach, Seth,
Josh.
and Josh. Yes, Josh.
Yes, yeah.
So if you guys want to like what your inspiration was, what like brought you in,
Yeah. So I sort of a similar situation to Zach. Also at uni, I was doing my bachelor's up until last year, and I was looking for like summer internships, basically, and just something to tide me over until I started my master's in computer science for games this year, which I have now completed. So just looking for something like small, something that would build up my portfolio. I wasn't really expecting anything huge, but I came across like Aradena, and I read the white paper and I was completely obsessed. And four interviews later, and I'm now with Zach every single day,
Yeah, pretty much.
helping him out. Yeah. So yeah, I joined about a year ago. Me and Zach are now becoming the same person.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Unfortunately. But yeah, no, it's been good. It's been really fun. And I'm just so happy that this weekend went well. Basically, yeah. Seth,
yeah, no, I
with
know
you?
I know Dev's nightmare. You're putting out that closed beta. You want everything to go well. No bugs and stuff. But even
Yeah.
just from my experience, it's been pretty smooth seeing how you guys have put out stuff, how clean things are, and I like that you guys have included things like a combat log in the game, stuff that is essential to these kinds of games. And it's not necessarily, needs to come out polished, which I'm fine with, and I think a lot of people are fine with. It's just about getting that like core functionality out, which I think you guys were successful with. But yeah, Seth,
Yeah,
please.
Oh, sorry, I was just going to say that's completely it. Like, you know, we've basically done the hard work now. Now it's about, putting stuff out and polishing and getting feedback as well. There's not much point us polishing stuff without feedback on whether people like it or not, whether it's fun, whether it's helpful. So yeah, the next few months are obviously just going to be that, really, just making sure it's all polished and working nice and fleshing out the other parts of the game. But yeah, go ahead, Seth.
Yeah, so I'm gonna make mine as quick as I can because we do want to hear from the game designers themselves. But to make it simple, I started out my life essentially in esports. I was a competitive COD player. Competed for quite a while, like 6 years. And when that ship sailed, I had some experience in marketing those tournaments because it was a small community, and I studied marketing. I left my previous marketing agency job and I wanted to work in gaming. Aradena was one of the positions I applied for, and then I read more about Aradena, and being aware of the Web3 space, I saw that the potential of the project, and I think that this is one of those very few Web3, quote unquote Web3 games that's actually gonna come out looking nice and competitive and good. So yeah, I think just that's a very brief explanation, but that's essentially why I'm on the team. Joined here like just under a year ago. But yep, just give the floor to Zach and Josh.
For sure. So, going on to the game, we got a question from the chat, and something that I'm wondering too is how and when are people going to be able to play this? The kind of open beta access that people want. Can you give us some kind of insight as to when we can expect that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't actually know the exact dates. Everything's been a bit mental recently, obviously. I know, obviously, we're going to be hosting many more of these sort of tournaments for the closed beta, and if people want access, get in the Discord server and speak to Boris, start participating in stuff, and we are giving out beta access. As for open beta, I can get back to you on that. I have a document with it in. I just need to find it and remember what the actual date was. So sorry about that.
Yeah, even if it's just like an estimate, I think people in this space are very hungry for just a game. Like, it's like, yeah, the game has to be good, but first we got to get to the games. And, for the most part, I've been coming from the Gods and Chain community, and like, that's kind of the one game that has like stood out. And like, now I feel like this summer, especially, we're going to start seeing more and more stuff. So if that's during the summer, man, I feel like people are really going to cling to that kind of, push forward, like, okay, closed beta into something a little more expanding. Cause people love this stuff on IMX, makes it easy. And speaking to that, if you guys could talk on how IMX has kind of pushed you guys or pulled you guys in certain directions. And like, because just for my own, I know the benefits of IMX, but from you guys, I'd love to hear like how you guys are taking advantage of everything that it has to offer.
Yes, I mean, first one, I would say it will be within the next sort of couple of months, the open beta slash getting to full release of that. But yeah, I mean, I'm not the man who sorts out the IMX stuff. I mainly focus on the game, but I know obviously they've been a big help with helping us sort all the usual things that IMX is helping with. It would be great to actually see if we can get Sakaja here, because he's the one who actually deals with them more directly.
Okay.
Yeah. Me and Josh mainly focus on core games. So
Right. Yeah, no, I'm thinking now like maybe that's
yeah. But I am slightly involved with that. Well, of course involved, but not completely. So I wouldn't want to comment if I'm not too sure on stuff of that.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I do. And going back to the previous point, we are definitely wanting to get as many people playing as soon as we possibly can. And that's kind of what this weekend is for, just seeing what some of the major issues are, ironing them all out, and like even adding in things like the deck builder so people can make their own decks. That's going to be such a huge feature coming within the next couple of rounds of like the tournaments and things that we really want people to like engage with. But right now we're focusing on the 2 factions that are in the game right now. So 2 out of the 4 that are going to be on launch. If you weren't aware, so there's the Beast Hunters, like Witcher style, like alchemy, like swordsman warriors. Think like again, like Geralt or even Aragorn from Lord of the Rings. You know, your master swordsman. And then there's the Arcane Institute, the mages. You know, pretty self-explanatory what they do. And then there's the 2 other factions which aren't in yet. So that's the Merchant Navy, ruthless. Cutthroat merchants, akin pirates, and then the Town's Guard, who may be a little bit corrupt, but they try and keep everyone safe inside of Aradena. And so this closed beta right now is we're focusing on the mechanics from the Beast Hunters and the Arcane Institute to ensure that we've got like cool fantasy within these factions going forward. And then within the next couple rounds, we're going to start implementing some of the other 2 factions and the neutral cards to see what people like, what people don't like. And then once we're really happy with the overall feel of the game and people are getting excited and feeling that sort of faction identity and fantasy within that, then we're going to start opening up into that open beta. And, you know, when the deck builder's live, when all the 4 factions are live, after we've done this iterative process, then that is when the floodgates are going to open, basically. So I don't think we have a set date for that, but like Zach said, within the coming months, we really want to get as many people playing as we possibly can.
Great. And just to clarify, I know it, but this game is free to play.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Anyone can play. You just need to sign up for a game account, and obviously at the moment it is restricted access to closed beta. But yeah, if you hop in the Discord, I'm sure you'll be able to find the closed beta key. We want to get people playing, people testing. So yeah.
Oh, for sure. So moving on to more, I guess, game stuff. I have the actual beta opened up on my screen as you were talking about. I actually was playing a bunch of the Arcane Institute decks. I got 1 win so far and like 10 losses, but we got the 1 win.
That sounds like me, man.
It just feels like this tipping point, you know? Like I get to this point and then it just kind of all goes to crap. But could you give us some, I guess, some strategies, or for someone like me coming into this trying to figure it out? Just, you know, when I go into games, I don't really like to read all the documents and stuff. I kind of just want to play it and see how I feel right off the bat. And it felt good, but I think that this is a kind of game that you do kind of have to know kind of the ins and outs of stuff. So if you could give us some insight into more of that.
Yeah, I'll let Josh take that. But I was going to say, I think the players that we have playing right now are pretty hardcore gamers as well. You know, when you start playing Hearthstone and you can sort of win pretty much all of your first games and that sort of thing. You don't really have that right now. There's no ranks, and all the people that are playing have been watching it for a long time. So mainly close community and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a reason why you're probably not doing so well in a lot of your games. But yeah, Josh, I'll let you you take some strategies. You're much better than me.
Someone in my chat is saying that the Discord link on your website is broken.
Oh,
I will
just
Seth, you could check that.
That's mad.
Yeah, I'm like, oh no, like, uh-oh.
That's not ideal.
Sort that out.
Yeah, someone said they got an error saying they're not allowed to join. Definitely want to get those people in.
Yeah, no,
you might need to enable 2-factor authentication on your Discord account in order to join.
That might be it.
I've also generated a new link and posted it in your Twitch chat as well.
Oh, I can't. I don't have links on because scammers.
I see. Okay, well then I'll message you on Discord.
Yeah, if you message me on Discord, I'll spam it. Yeah, no, it's a lot of things we have to put up, and that's kind of. I'll ask a question about that later. But yeah, if I could hear about those strategies, I definitely want to get better at this.
Yeah. So
Bacon Boys in the chat, Mr. CEO in the house.
Sorry, you say that again?
Bacon Boy Aredena's in the chat, Mr. CEO.
Oh, the Mr. CEO in the
nice.
chat. Oh, he's blessed us with the presence. Thank you for showing up. Good to have you here. And again, I want to hear about these strategies.
Yeah, so the Arcane Institute deck is my favorite one. It's the one I'm actually using right now to beat Zach. We are
Take
currently
notes, chat. Take notes.
Uh,
I can't
yeah,
believe I voted against you. It's not good. I'm just gonna lose.
yeah. So there's the ongoing joke that even though Zach spent the most time on the game, he's the worst one at it. But
Yeah.
it's because he's so far down in the theoreticals of the game. But yeah, so the Arcane Institute is my favorite deck. It's got some really cool like board wipes, like the Ruinous Madman, the 6-cost 1/1 unit that does 3 damage to everything when you play it.
I tried that. Yes, I love that one. You clear the whole
Yeah.
board. Very nice.
Yeah, it's really, really fun, and especially because the Arcane Institute has several cards like the Cult Seeder, which is a 4-cost 2/2, but when it dies, you get a free card in your hand called the Student of the Open Eye.
Mhm.
And that card, the Student of the Open Eye, is a 1-mana 1/1 that when it dies, you get to draw a card. So you can get so much value from setting up like a Cult Seeder into a Student of the Open Eye, then killing them both off to get a bonus from that.
Ooh.
So the
Is that
Arcane
that's the
Institute is a lot
sacrificial,
about,
right? Like when it's sacrificial,
yeah,
it's like
sacrificial is when it dies, it does something.
Yeah.
There's like the Chaotic Flamebearer as well that does 1 damage to everything around it. So when it dies as well, so you can run that in against something that it doesn't actually have a chance of beating, but then it'll smack it and then it'll explode and it could do damage to the
Right.
golem. It can do damage to all of the units around it, and just get you a bunch of value as well.
Yeah, I can actually bring up these cards as you're talking about them in the deck builder, right? Is there a way to
You should
search?
be able to, yeah.
Can I search by
Not
name
right now.
or?
But there's only 39 cards in there, so it won't take
okay.
long just to scroll through.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I'll try to find it as you're saying them.
Nah, point of reference as well is we aim to have around 200 cards for release. So yeah, it's gonna get it's gonna get pretty fun making your decks with all of them. But yeah.
Yeah. And I will say the Cloistered Scribe at the top right there, the 5-mana 3/3.
Yeah.
That is one of the best cards in the Arcane Institute deck because you play it, and at the end of every turn, it gives you 2 spells. One of which lets you
okay.
teleport a unit 3 spaces, and the other one lets you do 2 damage for 1 mana. And it is just an infinite like resource generation. For
so
example,
you could move and then teleport 3 spaces after that and attack.
yes, you can. So effectively
Ooh.
6 spaces per turn.
Wow.
Yeah, it's real big.
And that's just gonna keep spawning as long as that 5-drop stays alive.
Yeah, keep going.
Oh, wow,
And then
okay.
there's the curate card at the bottom of your screen there. So A does a pretty cool mechanic. So instead of attacking with that unit, you're actually able to input an attack on your ally and it will heal them. So if the Cloistered Scribe does get injured, you can just heal it up again with your curate.
With the curate. Okay. Just a side note for the chat, we are giving away some packs today from Aradena. If you win one of the battle royales, like Stranger there, make sure you DM me on Discord with your ETH address. But yeah, please, more information. I love this because I saw that card and I was like, wait, this seems really good because you're getting a damage spell and you're getting the teleport, which I hadn't used yet. But even just the damage spell felt good to be able to just generate every time.
Oh yeah, it's so good. And another one to point out there. I love it. Another one to point out there is the one to the right of it, Prismatic Prism.
Yeah.
So temporarily it makes the opponent's golem immobile, so it can't move, but it also means the opponent's golem can't attack. So that's effectively 5 mana. The golems can't go up or down the battlefield, and you're basically saving yourself from 6 damage.
But then,
from the
okay,
opponent.
if you have, because I know if you have a minion on an objective and your opponent doesn't, it'll drag their golem towards you. If it's immobile, does your golem still drag it with the push?
No, it stays exactly where it is.
So you're So isn't that so? In my head, I'm like, that's a benefit that I'm now negating because of this.
Yes, but also you can. Oh no, Zach just lost in our game. He killed himself with his own Ruinous Madman.
Bro, it's so stupid.
Yeah, so it is a downside if you don't want it to move, but the opposite to that is if you can't get any board presence, if you can't get to the objectives, it's like a get out of jail free card, right? So you can keep your golem where it is, and if you can see your opponent is going to take the 2 control points next turn, you're basically stopping them in their tracks. You're countering that play, which can then change their strategy to. Well, you've wasted their time basically because now they're going to go to that control point, but it's not worth it at all if they're not going to get any value from that. And the golem, you're basically healing your golem for 6 health with that as well.
Yeah, and I'm thinking like, I feel like these games can come down to that like last turn, who gets that last hit, and this could, you know, they're ready, they're gonna win next turn, and you throw this on it, and like, okay, wait, that 3 damage I was expecting is not coming out.
Oh, it's
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a problem when a few months ago when we were first testing the golems, that you sort of like could tell a few turns off you were going to lose. Which, you know, the more, you know, there's only 39 cards in now, and we'll have more cards that help with that. But that's one that really sort of, you know, you can disrupt when you know the game's going to end with that, which is super useful.
Yeah. People saying that your card art is great. Can you talk about the card art and like, you know, how you guys came up with like the lore and all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it was actually, you know, Josh is the cardsmith, hence why I've been, you know, negating most of these questions to him. But yeah, big shout out to the lore team, in particular, Diego, Stefan, Tom Rom. They have done an absolutely amazing job on these cards, and there's a lot more waiting to be shown as well, which I can't wait to show you. Most of these cards as well aren't actually in their final iteration. Yeah, so they get this sort of like, we improve them and you know, touch them up and change this to make sure it's still fitting with the mechanic. So yeah, you might find a couple where you're like, oh, I'm not really too sure how that applies to what's on the card, but obviously as we change stuff around, that does happen. But yeah, I mean, Josh, I don't know if you want to talk about your
so maybe like this, the fireball, like maybe that's an example of one.
Where is the fire?
Yes, yeah, the fireball. Yeah, so that is one of our placeholder arts right now. So obviously right now it does actually have its like new iteration of it ready to go in. But we were waiting on a couple of bits to polish before this build went live onto Elixir, so that's why it wasn't able to go in. But like, if you look at Embers or even just the fire card in general, those are both representative of what you can expect this sort of fire magic to look like. And the Arcane Institute is my favorite faction. You can probably tell I've talked about it the most already. But there's some pretty cool story that me and Jameis, one of our writers, sort of lead writer, we're currently exploring the different sub-factions between inside the Arcane Institute, and one of those is the fire mages, who are constantly trying to search for that hotter and hotter flame. So we're exploring a bit of a narrative story now with the leader of the fire mages, which actually I think is a 5-cost. There you go. That guy there, the Volatile Fire Slinger. So that is a placeholder name, but that guy's name is Lopin Krook. He is one of the leaders of he is the leader of the fire mages inside of the Arcane Institute. And as you can see there, he's the first person to sort of wield that blue flame, which is why he's a bit more volatile and a bit more explosive. And we're going to be investigating his character further with later expansions of him trying to find these like brighter and brighter flames, which could potentially lead to his demise or victory over, like, dominion over Aradena as a whole. And we're really excited to bring stories out using the cards and using characters that we set up on the cards. Like, there's the elderly adept there, really old wizard. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's forgotten his robe, just to the right of the Volatile Fire Slinger there. Yeah, he's my favorite one.
Favorite actual name. I don't know if you want to share that.
That's good.
Yeah, so the actual name of the elderly adept is I'll put it in your Twitch chat. So there we go. Just have to follow you. Cool. I thought I did that earlier. Yeah, so his name is C. Nile. He's so old that he's forgotten his first name.
It's so good.
Yeah, and you know, looking at it face value, he's 6 mana for a 4/1, which is kind of a little bit crap. But Intuition is a 1-cost 1 mana card that lets you draw a card. So this sort of goes back into those combos that the Arcane Institute can set up. So there's a card that's not in right now, but it will be on its way, is that you'll be able to do some damage based on the amount of spells that you cast in a particular turn. So obviously the Elderly Adept, when it dies, it gets you a spell, so you can cast that spell and they get bonus value off that extra spell damage card later on. So looking at it right now, he's kind of crap, but also you can just use him for I think if you find a card called Hellbinding Right, I think a little bit to the left.
Yeah, 1 cost.
So it should be a 1-cost card called Hellbinding Right. So that card lets you sacrifice one of your allied units to
There
then
we go.
kill someone else's.
Oh yeah, I
So you
like that
can-
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was really good.
Yeah,
So
it's
you
like
can
low
use those
cost, like tons
cards.
of value.
Yeah, tons of value, especially again if you combine it with that Chaotic Flame Bearer
with
at the top left.
sacrificial. Yeah. Okay.
So the Arcane Institute is very, I don't know if you're familiar with Hearthstone, but very much inspired by combining Mage with Warlock in Hearthstone. So
Okay.
getting those like high damage, high cost, but also like sacrificing your own units for bigger gain. And that's sort of the design theory that we're applying to that faction as a whole. But yeah, some examples of the combos you can make with those. And
Yeah.
I just love Senile so much. I think he's great.
I will also say my favorite art, I think, is Lightning Shock.
Oh,
Lightning
Lightning
Shock?
Shock is
Yeah,
amazing.
man.
That's nice.
Gives me like old school MTG vibes.
Yeah, I'm almost like right now for GU, I actually have a bot in the chat where you can like look up the art. So hopefully down the line we'll also have a little thing where you can, grab the image links, have them nice and big, create some, maybe
Yeah.
wallpapers, kind of stuff like that. Because it's like I feel like with this art that you got to do more. Like there's so much you can do with it, and if I feel like if people just leave it on the card, it's like you're not doing enough. So like I guess my next question is then like you talked about developing the lore and like creating these stories. Do you guys have plans of like developing any kind of like content around that, like videos or animations, anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. We have actually started experimenting with some sort of, I think they're like 1 minute short videos on cards. Just when the artists are exploring the artwork, they tend to do some other artworks and that sort of stuff. And all these old artworks are like 4K, so you could have it as your background as well.
Mm-hmm.
We definitely want to credit the artists as well on each one, so that will be in the info.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Is it
100%.
individual artists, or did you guys go with like one studio?
No, so they're internal.
Oh wow, okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really great to hear.
Yeah, and just pretty much, put the feeders out there, and sometimes as well just looked at at portfolios and just said, wow, this guy's amazing. All of them are massive gamers as well. I think Diego is
that's
like
great.
I don't want to say if he's not, but a very, very good Hearthstone player. So yeah, they will absolutely love it, and they help with the sort of design in a lot of ways as well. They come up with a lot of cool ideas, which sometimes is a nice way of doing the design process of like, we've got this cool idea, can you make this a card? And we're like, yeah, hell yeah, man. But yeah, we're 100% crediting the artists, and yeah, the lore is already written for a lot of these cards, and will be posted out in probably a few different mediums. I guess we'll just try a few and see what people like. If they like the shorter card videos, if they like reading, if they like them on the battlefield, we'll try out some different things and see how best to get across the lore for them, because it's amazing all the work that has gone into them.
We're definitely working on like a few ways to create storylines for you guys more than it being a competitive game. So this will come in the form of animated shorts. You could head to our website and read like a novel if you want to. There'll be some way, shape, or form of a comic, a live comic, even audio to a certain extent, where you have narrations and just dynamic art moving along the screens, which is something we have experimented with, but down the line, we'll definitely be looking at more extravagant ways of telling the lore of Aradena. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the thing, obviously, with a competitive game, you don't have a storyline to follow. So this is a really good way for us to get the amazing lore that's been written for Aradena out. And also the community as well. The community for the last 2 years, if you go on our server, there's a lore channel, and there's mountains of lore that we've been keeping up with and looking through. And I think some people are starting to find little like breadcrumbs of that sprinkled throughout what the lore writers have been writing.
Nice. Well, that's great to hear that you guys are developing it, and it feels like you really care about it. I do want to ask about stuff like first turn advantage, and I guess just in general, like how important balance is, and how you guys are going to tackle like the various issues that arise in that.
Yeah, I'll take this one. So one of the things that we're very much aware of is that sort of first turn bias. So something that we did initially to try and combat that, we might not have nailed a direct 50-50 split just yet, but one of the things that is pretty cool is that obviously the golems move towards the center of the battlefield. The first golem to attack is actually player two's because it gets there last,
Right.
so it's able to hit first. So straight away off the bat, player one kind of has 3 less health. So when you're looking at it, at least at face value, so if you do nothing for the entire game, player 2 will win every single time because the golems are going to be fighting. However, people play things in games, and we want to make sure that controlling the objectives doesn't give too much of an advantage. Like if player 1 gets both objectives, player 2 can't even like get on the board at all, make any effort to sort of dent that, then that's obviously going to be a big problem, which is where we have cards like the Ruinous Madman that can just completely flip an entire board state, you know. And I think we're very aware of it. I've played Hearthstone since like alpha. I was in like the closed alpha for Hearthstone.
Oh, wow.
And like the coin in that was broken because they went a bit too hard with like player 2 being too powerful, you know, and then they kept flipping between it. And I know Ben Brode's been very vocal about it on his Twitter and on different talks that he's been part of. But yeah, experimenting with things like player 1 can't move their units first turn, but player 2 can potentially. A lot of the things we're testing behind the scenes and internally, and then as soon as we get any of those, as soon as we're happy with those and we do that sort of internal data collection on which side is winning more often, we'll roll that out to the community, see what you guys think, ask for feedback on that, and see if anyone has any suggestions. Like if you have any ideas right now, please do just let us know. We're always about in our Discord. Like if you want to just DM us or anything at all, happy to take any feedback you have or any ideas. All of it will be taken into consideration because, you know, we want to build this game for the community that we have. We don't want to alienate you guys. We want you to have the most fun you possibly can. And if people think that player 1 wins every time, then that sucks. Like even if statistically they might be closer than people think, it's the fact that people there is a difference, and then that's what matters. And we want to respect people that are playing the game, and no one wants to go second. If you're like, if you've got a higher chance of losing, no one wants to go second. Like you'll just quit if you join and you're not first. But yeah, it's something that we're definitely aware of, and we do want to actively work towards and just fix basically.
Yeah, I was just going to add, this is exactly what we're doing now, you know, getting real data from real games.
Oh, finally.
Yeah. Seeing what cards people are using. You know, game designers, we have a pretty good idea of what we want the game to be, but, you know, we're not the thousands of people that are going to play it, so we need their feedback. And, yeah, we can already sort of see data on if player 1 is winning more or less. Yeah, so that's what we're doing now.
Well, don't look at my data because it's pretty skewed. It's just pretty skewed to the losses.
All mine.
Doesn't matter if I go first or second. But no, that's great to hear. And chat, don't think that they're just asking me if you're playing this game or eventually play this game and you have ideas. If you're watching me or watching other people play and you have ideas, go in their Discord. Like they said, they want to hear from you guys. And I think that's what works with these kinds of games that are on IMX, that are on, on-chain data, all that kinds of stuff, in-game assets. When you guys tap into the community, I think that's when it really starts to become something. And it's like this new phenomenon that's happening. So very cool to hear that.
What's it like in GU? Is it?
Well,
I
think it's good because you'll have really, really smart people coming in. I'm sure you guys have your own like set of people that look at the cards and they can break them down to the very bare bones, like thinking 50 turns ahead, what is, where this card could come in handy. And I think that's what we've seen in GU is that you have these kind of like unofficial balance people that like just can have this kind of look on the game and say, okay, these cards are good, these cards are bad, and kind of help the team. I will say that there have been times where there isn't a lot of communication, or there just isn't like a shared like sense of like, okay, this could work or this couldn't. I feel like there's a lot of these instances of like Balance team putting something out and people hating it and then changing it. Whereas, I think there could be more instances of things coming out having already been discussed. And I know there's a lot of things that go into it because, you probably have to have people sign NDAs, and because assets are involved, like money is involved, there's a lot more like buttons and levers you have to turn and push. But I think that if you can find that happy medium, it can really be successful because, again, like the people coming into these games for the most part are older, have experienced games for 10 to 20 years. We know the ins and outs. We know, if you're feeding us bullshit, we're going to call it out. And I think that's what's been good about GU. And I hope that you guys get a similar aspect of like people kind of keeping you on your toes, keeping you doing your best, because if you don't, you're going to get flamed. And I think that's the best part of this space, is that when something bad happens, it's all public. Everything's on chain. Everything you can see, you got to own those mistakes. Just hearing from you guys are talking about that, like, oh yeah, we have replacement, we have stand holder or stand-in card art, and it's not polished, it's not this. Hearing that stuff, you're not coming in here and worried about what the investors are gonna hear if we say the wrong word. Like, no, we're gonna make a good game. We're gonna hear from the community. That's my vibe that I've gotten from you guys. And I think if you guys can keep that up, it's gonna be successful.
Yeah, I think you've pretty much summed it up perfectly there, to be honest. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors a lot of the time in these sort of games, and we're not that. We have a company mission of making a good game. Like, that's pretty much it. So, we know the best way to do that is, to communicate with the community and just put what we have out there and get feedback on it. It's not going to improve, and we're going to be working down the wrong tracks if we don't do that. It's also funny you should say about the guy behind the scenes, because we actually work very closely with the co-creator of Gods Unchained.
Nice.
He is the head at Blowfish of our game, if that makes sense. So he's the head of lead game designer at Blowfish that we work with. And yeah, he's definitely brought through a lot of experience and sort of.
He's helped us stay clear of mistakes.
Pretty much.
Yeah. No, that was going to be another question. Actually, it was like, how have you guys seen the landscape and kind of changed or shifted? Because I know I feel like GU and GUG and all these things that have come out, kind of in quotes, come out already, have been, on one hand, yes, there have been mistakes, but on the other hand, it's kind of like this unproven ground. They're kind of casting out to sea with no map. And now you guys are here, and I feel like maybe you have a little more guidance, but it's still, I think it's still this like uncharted seas type of situation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, completely.
Oh, go on, Josh.
I was just going to say, yeah, I completely agree. Like, we've seen what works well, what people want from GU, what they've provided in terms of gameplay, and what players are asking for from the GU developers and things. And I play GU myself. I probably not as much as I played traditional TCGs. Like, I think I've been playing Magic since I was like 9. So I'm going to be one of the people that call out bullshit as well, which is good to have, me on the inside of that. Because if I see anything that I don't like, I will raise my voice about it. I will make sure that, things that people hate aren't going to get in. But speaking about like GU specifically, I really enjoyed my time with it. But I was also very curious the way that they did some things, and having James sort of working alongside James, the co-creator, has really, really helped us steer the ship in the right direction. So yeah, we are in uncharted waters, but we've got someone pretty good reading the map, basically. And we are doing everything we possibly can to foster a happy community that respect us, and because we respect them, and we want to just make sure that everyone's here to have fun. No one feels like there's any one specific card that is just broken, or we don't want people to feel like it's pay to win either. Because I know a lot of people have issues with some of the aspects of Web3 games, in that it's just pay to win, But with TCGs, kind of everything's kind of pay to win with TCGs. Like Hearthstone, you have to buy
Yeah,
used packs.
exactly.
Magic, you have to build your
In-game,
decks.
like physical decks, like you buy the cards. Yeah, it is
Yeah,
tough.
exactly.
Um,
So
yeah.
like I think what we're doing is good. We've got when trading goes live, we're going to have similar to what GU have of being able to just build the deck that you want to build without having to do what Hearthstone does, which is just buy 60 packs and hope for the best,
right.
or dust the rest of your cards. We want to give players control over the cards that they're playing with, the cards that are going into their deck, and we're really focused on making a balanced game that promotes a further balanced like game economy, because we know a lot of people care about that as well. If they've got cards that are cool, good, we want them to be able to feel like they're really holding onto some real value with those. We don't want people to feel like it's just, well, like in Hearthstone, it's just a money sink, right? That goes nowhere unless you can pray to get into a tournament
Yeah,
really high up. You're not gonna nothing comes back from your investment into Hearthstone. So we want people to feel like their time investment and monetary investment is worthwhile, also whilst promoting a really happy, safe, and fun free-to-play environment as well. Because free-to-play players are the biggest market there is, and we don't want to alienate anyone. We just want to have a really fun time. And being alongside Gods Unchained, working with IMX and stuff as they do, we want to share the space and do. We're not exactly the same, so we want to fill out the genre a bit. Fill out the genre of good games that use this technology instead of just looking like a cash grab, as some failed projects have done. We just want to make a great game. And
for sure, that's great to hear. I do have 2 more questions for you guys. One is about the in-game reward system. Can you talk about that? That's obviously something people coming from GU, coming from any space that's like, oh, what are these play and earn games? Like, how are people playing and how are people earning?
Yeah, so this is something which is still under sort of like final review. So I might not go too deep into it, if that's okay.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
But we will 100% obviously be releasing.
Hey, we're in closed beta. We're not. We're not expecting the fireworks just yet.
I can. Yeah, I probably won't go too much into it. Just simply because once we release the information fully on it, that's when I'll be able to happily talk about it.
Right.
Pretty similar to Gods Unchained, I think, from what I've seen, and obviously we have taken inspiration from other games with that sort of stuff. But yeah, I might have to not answer that. That's okay.
No, that's fine. I guess maybe a better question is like, is there maybe, I guess, like, you could speak on the philosophy of it, or because I guess GU is just a good example, because I think it is that game that you compare it to something like Axie, where it became this thing where it wasn't even a fun thing and people were barely even earning money, and then it was just like and GU now you can actually earn couple bucks here and there just from playing, and I think that is a nice place to kind of enter, like that space of like, okay, I could actually, if I do grind this game, I could earn this token from it, and then trade up to a card or get a card, then eventually trade up and sell it, something like that. So maybe could you speak on that, like maybe the philosophy or like the direction you guys are kind of headed? Or if you can, I completely understand, because I don't want to get you in trouble.
I see Josh is just unmuted.
I think,
go on, mate.
I was just going to say, obviously we've seen with like Axie, which like went from like play to earn to just kind of earn. People wouldn't like enjoy playing it.
Right.
We want people to feel like they're getting something from their time in terms of gameplay, and then be able to earn a little bit off the back of that. You'll be able to elevate your earnings with certain systems that we have in place. Like Zach said, we're not finished designing those yet, and as soon as we are finished with those, we will release some Medium articles about that. But people that have bought our Genesis Warriors, people that have bought our Women of Aradena, like they're gonna get rewarded for that. They're gonna be able to play and earn, but feel like they can actually make some meaningful progress and like buy card packs with their earnings, for example.
Right.
and then be able to like sell those cards if they want, or keep them, or get actively more engaged in the economy. We want people to, as much as we like people taking money out, and that feels really good. Like, I just want a fiver in a tournament, I'm gonna go like get a burger from McDonald's.
Yeah.
We want people to win from tournaments, but then reinvest that, buy new card packs, buy new cards, try out new fun strategies, and we want players to be able to sort of climb that ladder in terms of their rank, and also in terms of the cards that they accrue, and the skill that they can express through that.
Yeah.
That's sort of the philosophy behind it.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I'll just add as well, whilst supporting the free to players as well. That's
completely
a big thing for us. It's not going to be that you need a warrior to do all them things. Just having a warrior will give you certain bonuses in some different ways. But it will definitely be, you don't have to spend money. You can just come in and enjoy the game. Get cards and still progress, but obviously just in a slightly different way.
No, for sure. And I'm kind of actually liking that you guys aren't kind of just putting stuff out there that you're not sure of. I think
Go on, sorry.
No, I was just say that the vibe I've gotten from some projects I think are successful is that, they're going out and they're under promising and then going and over delivering. So I'm definitely excited to see what comes out, because I'm getting that sense that there's not like all these promises being placed, but then when things are released, like this closed beta that I'm looking at, like this looks really good. So kind of setting that expectation, I think, is really nice.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, I mean, we it's all designed, it's all there. But we've got a bit more time to do some final checks on it and just make sure it's all perfect for everyone as well. We do have some stuff on the economy released that you can take a look at in the white paper. But as I say, it's still being iterated on just while we make sure it's perfect for the game we're making and the community we have.
Don't make promises and then hold on to them for years.
Exactly.
That's not going to be fun for anyone. But my last question for you guys is kind of the competitive scene and events, tournaments. Like, where do you guys see that happening? I know I'm not going to ask you for a timeline, don't worry. But, when it does eventually get to that point, like, what does that look like for you guys?
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that we're hoping to have competitive on launch, on open beta.
Oh, wow.
And tournaments as well. Maybe don't hold me to that, because obviously,
I think if
it's the week after, then you have to.
He's gonna quit. You're gonna have to resign then if that happens.
Hey, someone clipped it already. Sorry about that.
Yeah. It's gonna be a soundbite. I know.
Sorry, Zach. I just took your job. My bad, mate.
Yeah. But yeah, obviously promoting competitive play is what we want, and we want people to be doing that, and also using tournaments and that sort of stuff, and setting up new modes as well. We really, and I know Josh is definitely gonna love me for saying this, we want a draft
please.
mode. We want a draft mode. Yeah. And yeah, we'll definitely be releasing more info on that, once we have a solid timeline. Which we do have, but probably not public solid.
Yeah, I mean, from my time playing like Magic the Gathering Arena, which I think just pales in comparison to the physical game, and also Gods Unchained, I think I've spoken to some like pretty high-ranking people in the GU community, and I know that they also want like a Hearthstone Arena / Magic draft style mode, and I am writing the brief for that as we speak. That it will be in. I'm making it my life's mission to get Aradena draft mode in.
Nice.
I'm gonna not allow it.
Can I put, you better, mate. I can't put a time on exactly when, but we do want constructed. We want like what we currently have now, which is like pre-built decks that, well, players will build their decks and go into the competitive environment,
right?
As well as like limited draft modes similar to like Magic the Gathering pre-release events, or Hearthstone's Arena, where you construct the deck as you go, basically. And I think something that's really important is that we've got this universe now that people are getting engaged with, and this game that people are playing, and we can do so much with this. Potential for 2v2s, or potential for like even like a single player campaign mode.
Ooh, 2v2 sounds fun.
Yeah, I mean, I
cool.
love I love Two-Headed Giant in Magic. I love playing just with my friends. You know, even if it's just a casual mode, 2v2 would be sick. Just having that sort of sandbox available, see what happens. You know, what does it look like when there's 4 golems on the field? Is there one in each corner? Do they all just come into the middle and just start smacking each other? Like, what happens with that?
That could be cool.
But yeah, so we've got a lot of ideas. Not promising anything, but we are really focused on the core 1v1 competitive PvP game mode first, and getting people involved with tournaments, limited time events on some certain weekends where they can like get engaged a bit more and win some like tournament rewards and stuff off the back of that. But also, you know, we aren't just relying on this. We want to get a really cool game mode that's like clean, really polished, and then from there we can, you know, branch out into like PvE or PvPvE type of game modes, or 2v2s, or draft, or, you know, as Zach said, that we've got a really cool sandbox here, and sort of talking about the map design here, we have like this Lego piece style of map construction where everything is built from tiles. So like this isn't even going to be the only map on launch. I think there's about 2 that I've worked on myself, and there's a couple more that we need to sort of polish and refine before we get them into the game. But we can build any maps that we want to with the tools that we have, and we've future-proofed this game to, well, as best we possibly can. And at least a big inspiration of that for me is, don't know if you're familiar with like Dota, the original one, which was the mod for Warcraft 3. So like a whole genre of like MOBAs, like League, Dota, Heroes of the Storm, Dota 2, came from a simple mod of Warcraft 3.
Right.
And we want to give people, eventually, we want to give people tools to like figure out their own game modes.
Oh, okay.
Which could be really cool, or even like build their own maps potentially.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
again,
say, we have a map maker. Like
we do we have a map maker.
It was in the game a long time ago. You could open up the map maker.
That's cool.
But yeah,
like custom games and stuff.
But yeah, I'll bite my tongue there. But yeah, we want people to have control. We want people to play around with the sandbox and the world and the stories that we're creating. We don't want to limit it off. We want everyone to be involved in Aradena however they want to be and however they can be, whether that's, you know, some of our big like whales, or whether it's like our free-to-play community. You know, we just want everyone involved in it in the best way that they possibly can. And giving tools to creators will be a long-term goal that I think will be really beneficial for the game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when you guys talk about modding and stuff, my ears perk up because I don't know if Seth has explained or talked to you about it, but I'm on the team at GU Stakes, which is a platform that we automate and run a bunch of the Gods Unchained tournaments that you have seen. And we actually have, if you want an example, we actually have a draft arena mode already live on the website where it kind of spits out cards for you to pick from.
Nice one.
And yeah, it's not as, again, it's like not as polished as it would be, but I think that we're on the same kind of vibe where we want to put something out before we spend like thousands of dollars on UI and UX. And, you know, I think it really is about like the core functionality and the tech of what you're doing. And like even to that, like with these tournaments, like we're able to set like custom restrictions and do certain stuff. Like you're only allowed to use 1 and 2 mana cards, and you're only the max deck cost can be like $50, so that if you have really expensive cards, you can't play with them. And I think that's where, you know, once you get your game going, you have all this stuff going, then your issue might be like, okay, how do we keep these people engaged? How do we keep these people hungry for more? And I think that's what it is. Like you then lean on your community to build tools out, to build things out. And man, I'm excited to eventually get to that point with you guys, because I think this is going to be a really cool game. Are there any last thoughts or shout outs or anything you guys want to make before we close this off?
I mean, apart from a massive shout out to the team, I mean, there's obviously we're all extremely happy yesterday and today, and hopefully from now on, but you know, have been before. Yeah, just so many people working so hard on this to get this out. It's been a long 2 years, as I said, and we're finally now getting to show it to people and getting some really useful feedback. So yeah, it's a pretty proud moment for us all. And yeah, we just can't wait to carry on iterating. And please, get in the Discord, get into closed beta, and yeah, watch the game sort of get polished and get launched.
I think one last thing that I would like to say as well
Do you wanna-
is. Well, I'll say this first, and then I'll hand it over to Seth. But just something else. We are going to start going live on Twitch ourselves.
Nice.
That'll be me and Zach hosting those with.
Yeah, you can just watch him beat me constantly.
Yeah, every time. I see. I have to let him win sometimes because he
like
needs
a
a little bit of
child.
motivation.
He needs to learn,
Yeah.
see what it's like.
Yeah, exactly. And but yeah, we'll be happy to have you on as a guest if you want to play against us. When we get private lobbies up and running, it'd be great to play against you specifically. Or
Play you're being kind by saying play against you. It's more like try and play.
Destroy.
I'll give you some tips. But Steph, go ahead with what you were saying.
No, I'm just wondering if we have just a few more minutes. Josh, Sully, you can get into a game and you can get insights from the king himself.
Oh, I can share my screen. You can
Yep,
I
something
can just
like
smurf.
that.
I can just smurf, destroy someone. It's
Learn
me.
the rope slightly.
Yeah, it's not the game designer playing for me. It's not what's happening. But
Just
yeah, no,
whispering
definitely,
sweet nothings in your ear.
definitely congratulations, because it is a big thing to say, okay, we're gonna do closed beta out this day and actually do it on that day and have things go and be smooth. I can honestly say I only encountered a couple things last night. I think when I tried to quit a game, all the cards went stacked on top of each other, and then I couldn't click on them. I don't know if you've seen that bug yet.
Yes, yeah, we're aware of that one. That one's going to be fixed as soon as we can find what's behind it, basically.
Yeah, we'll definitely be releasing sort of a good bug log for everyone as well, because we know there's a few annoying little bugs in the game, and we'll definitely let you guys know that we've seen them and are fixing or have fixed them.
Well, you need bugs to make the fixes. I think it's
exactly
the mistakes have to happen. You have to be going through these trials to then get to something. But yeah, I'm going to start up an Arcane Institute deck, and we're going to win. And if we don't, then if we don't,
I
then
don't know. When Zach loses his job if we lose this one.
So here we're going first here, and so I see this and I'm like, okay, if I don't like my hand, I'm gonna click mulligan and get another hand.
I would actually keep it.
Right. Well, that's what I was like. I see a lot of low cost stuff, so I'm like, okay, this is actually decent.
Yeah. So I'm a big fan of not mulliganing. I believe in the heart of the cards. I trust the deck, and what luck is given me.
Whisperer.
The deck whisperer. But also, if you do mulligan, you do lose one card as well. So obviously, you are guaranteed to start with your commanding warrior in your hand every turn or every game. So that'll be Billy for the Arcane Institute deck. So you are guaranteed a 2-drop every game if you play with the Arcane Institute deck. So your mana curve's kind of fine because he can use his health pool to gain you more mana as well. So I would say, is it on your second turn now? I can't actually see your mana because it's behind the tomato on your stream.
If you look on Discord, I'm sharing my screen.
Oh, I see. Let me swap over to that.
It won't be delayed too. That's probably better. So yeah, I'm thinking, I guess, Billy here, we got 2 mana, nice and easy. This, I guess you would use if they have a nice big board and you want to slow them down, because it stops all the minions.
Yes, that's freezing one specific enemy, so that will slow them down, so they'll be only able to move 2 spaces per turn rather than 3. And that doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a huge advantage for repositioning and stuff.
So my initial thought here is I want to try to get to the objective first. Would you agree?
Yeah. I would say so, yeah. Player 1 always sort of wants to, well, the first player that gets anything on the board wants to try and get as close as they possibly can to the objectives. Yeah. Nothing else to do if he isn't playing anything yet.
Yeah, there's definitely a few. Sorry, I just meant to get a drink. I don't know if I missed something there, but there's definitely a few annoying things that we kind of knew were going to happen, and that some people have been exploiting. For example, the turn timer is a bit long at the moment. There's no like roping out, like Hearthstone. If you use all your time, next turns are shorter, and also just some people quitting or disconnecting. To try and exploit the point system, but you can't. So I don't really know why people have been doing that.
Or they think they're gaming the system, but
yeah, they're not.
Oh, that's a good 3-drop, right? Fire, then adjacent. So you attack with that, and it's gonna spit out embers.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd recommend playing that onto your southmost deployment zone tile.
Right here.
Hang on a second. I'm still watching your stream. Your Discord live stream is actually stuck on the main menu.
Oh.
So I've just been watching the stream for now, but
I'm
not sure why that's happening.
No, it's because I think because it's a different window for the game potentially.
Oh, it
no,
should
maybe it's the same.
have you got 2 copies open?
I'll just do the screen. You can see it now.
Ah, perfect. Yeah.
So when you say south.
So the bottom one. So
yeah, the bottom one here. Why would you put something here ever?
That's sort of if you're on your first turn and the golem's blocking that first one.
Okay.
But also some things do have like longer range, and you want to kind of utilize that.
So here, where would you recommend going?
I'd recommend just moving him 3 spaces. Yeah, right there.
Okay.
And then you should be able to reach.
Oh, this one, and do a long
guy.
range. Okay.
You can do a long range one, but then he will actually set fire to all of the tiles around that, which will do damage to him, and then it will set fire to the golem itself as well.
So then this damage goes at the end of their turn?
So it should be at the end of your turn. It'll do 1 damage with embers.
So that'll kill.
That should kill him.
Wow,
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
And it'll explode. And
Very
it did 1
cool.
damage to the golem as well.
Oh wait, did I not move this guy?
Actually, your face cam is blocking your deployment zone, by the way.
What?
Your face cam is blocking the deployment zone.
Oh, on the
stream.
Oh, because I moved it because we were looking at the decks. Here, I'll move it over here. It's probably a better spot. Thank you. But yeah, I think I didn't move him to the objective, but I guess it wouldn't have mattered because it didn't swing.
I forgot push to talk was on there. Yeah, so it wouldn't have mattered because yours didn't have that. It wasn't close.
I'm gonna count that as a misplay because I gotta be on top of it. I gotta.
yeah. I mean, you can't do everything perfectly. I know we're here giving you things, but it'd be a bit unfair to Samwise Ganj, your opponent there, if we were telling you everything to do.
Yeah. So we've got this Cloistered Scribe that we could play next turn. Right now we're at 4 mana. I guess we could just throw out the Billy. That's really all we can do. After time. Oh, and we can throw this out too.
I would throw both of those out, yeah.
Okay, so we can throw this out, and we're gonna want to try and get towards the objective. Or would you recommend Billy going closer to the objective or this one? Or I guess you try to go for both.
I personally would move that guy just right behind your golem.
Okay.
And try and get him in, because when he dies, he explodes and he'll do damage. So you kind of want him to fight. Billy, however, you want to be a little bit away from the fray. So I would play Billy and then try and move him up towards that control point. Yeah.
Okay.
And something else to do right now, if you want to, is if you click on Billy, you'll be able to see his additional ability there. So you can get an additional bit of mana, play a lightning bolt on his golem if you want to. But I would personally keep the lightning bolt for a bit of removal later down the line. But that is an option if you do want to use that.
Yeah, I see like the lightning bolt is like, okay, when they have a minion that's about to get to the objective or something, that's when I'm going to throw it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and I was like trying to keep mindful of like, okay, I got to think about how much damage I've got, what they can clear, and then obviously the golem health. I guess the golem health is really, that's the thing you're prioritizing the most.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's your helpful. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of information that people, are having to look at. And, the UI at the moment, as you can see, is, not quite there. And what's being conveyed to players as well is not quite there. It's all being worked on, and obviously them sort of things can go in quick once we're happy with the information being conveyed, and then get feedback from you guys, and if that's worked, what aren't people understanding, what what's just annoying to have to keep track of, what can we show in a big red button,
Yeah,
them sort of things. But yeah, it all comes from feedback and just them iterative putting them in the game and seeing what people think.
Dope. Okay, so here now I can get around and attack this golem. They also have that over there, but we can't reach that.
So he has actually poisoned that unit there. So because he's going to explode at the end of this turn, what I would do is position it behind the golem as close as you can. Yeah. So if he explodes and that 1/2 unit, then it'll explode. Yeah. And it might only do damage to units and warriors when it dies. However, you can just have him there to block his unit getting closer if you want to.
All right, so
but yeah.
Here
Capturing
I'm
that with
going
Billy is great.
I'm definitely going to use the lightning shock to kill that.
Yeah, 100%.
And then
I would recommend actually clicking on Billy, using his ability, and then playing the Cloistered Scribe card.
Oh, yes. Okay, so Billy coming in clutch here.
There you go, and then you'll be able to play that.
So how can I tell if someone can get up to these higher grounds?
So anyone can travel up to those higher grounds. They don't restrict your movement, but you can only go up 1 increment each time. So there's the 1 elevation, and then there's the 2 elevation at the corners of the map there. So you have to go from the 1 to the 2, for example.
This right here, like this crossbow thing, that just means it's up 1 level?
Yeah, so that crossbow means that any ranged unit that goes on top of that actually gets +1 attack from being on the high ground.
Oh, very cool. So, and then how do I tell if something's ranged?
So at the bottom, well, right there where you're hovering, it has the sword and the axe. So instead of having the sword and the axe, it'll have a crossbow behind the attack value.
Okay.
There is a slight mismatch on some of the actual cards themselves. All of the cards say that they're melee, but when you play them, you'll be able to see that they've got that crossbow behind it. And usually cards that are ranged have like a bow and the arc, for example.
I forgot to end the turn.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so we push him. That's great. We're up on health. Teleport 3, okay. Someone's asking if they buy a legendary pack, do they get a legendary card or just more chances to drop a legendary?
More chances to drop a legendary. We did experiment with the the guaranteed legendary nature, but we felt that it was a bit more. We actually that's a really good example of us listening to our community. So we had feedback from people that thought the legendary packs would drop guaranteed legendaries, and we actually reached out to our community. I think we did a Discord poll, and we asked them, "Hey guys, do you want the results of these packs to be changed? Do you want guaranteed legendaries out of legendary packs?"
Yeah.
And then our community actually said no. They wanted us to be stay consistent with the message that we had. We didn't want to confuse anyone that was buying those packs, and we heard them out. They wanted to. They requested they stay the same because that's what they paid for and that's what they bought. So we listened. We took that on board, and that means that next time when we do something like that, or when we actually release our actual packs that are going to be available in the game, that feedback is going to be taken on board there. So it's not a guaranteed legendary, but all of the slots inside of that pack are going to be enhanced, which means that they all have higher chances of obtaining those rarer cards.
So they just roping me? Okay, there we go.
There you go.
Well, that's great. The person who asked that says, perfect, I like it. So there you go. That's cool. You guys actually did ask them about packs, because packs are that's like bread and butter. Like that's your fundraising right there. And I think that's a really big, that says a lot, because it's a very big statement to then listen to the community, change things based on what they actually want. Because again, yeah, it's I think in this space, we've gone from being players and spending $60 on a game that lasts forever, to now gamers who are kind of also investors, and not even just investors financially, but our time. And that's one of the biggest things for me, is the time. Is my time being valued here? What am I getting out of this? And I think that, the pack buys, that's part of it. The mental aspect of investing money into something that then feels like it's yours, in some ways. So that is great to hear.
Yeah, we're always listening out for feedback and how we can respect people as best we can.
I have a question. Can you, if I draw too many cards, can you have as many cards as possible in hand, or is there a max?
You can draw as many as you want, but you have to discard down to 7, I think, at the end of a turn.
So I don't want to do this with a full hand.
No, yeah, that's for if you run out of steam at the end of a game.
So here, I think I'm going to use a lightning shock to kill off this cavalry here.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah. And then this can attack. Oh, that's 3 attack. That's really nice. And then this. So to attack, I have to move, right? I can't stay in the same spot.
Yeah, you can't stay in the same spot unless he was ranged. But again, ranged function a little bit like, if you're familiar with chess, they function a little bit like rooks and bishops. They can only fire in straight lines.
Right. Yeah, I was seeing that like when you click on
fire
them.
over trees though, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay. So end of turn modifier ember.
What you can do is actually put, because you've moved your unit out of the control point.
Oh,
you can actually put. You can either portal him back, or you can put embers beneath the opponent's golem. Because now it will stay there for 2 turns and you'll get that damage off for 2 turns.
Oh, because I got off the objective.
So now it's not going to pull it, or at least it shouldn't pull it.
So it's like you take away your advantage, but then you're still like keeping that,
still profiting
that
off
pressure going.
Yeah,
Okay.
like you sacrificed 1 tile movement for effectively 4 damage there, which is really, really big.
So then here, yeah, no, I guess it's just end of turn here, because I'm not going to use any of this stuff. Oh, is that sound the rope?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that was the rope sound, like the sizzling.
Yeah, that's the rope sound.
Okay.
We are going to make it so you can't see the timer as well, and then if the other person's like inactive, it will speed up their turn because we don't want people wasting your time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely a lot of sort of quality of life things to go in there, which just hadn't been implemented sort of at all until this point. Obviously, now people are playing, we're getting people sort of trying to abuse that. Well, hopefully not too much, but sometimes you don't want to be sat around doing nothing, just, getting griefed by your opponent.
Someone asking, you guys spoke about adding more card art functionality. Do you have any plans of adding any like voice acting or like in-game kind of like effects like on top of what we're already seeing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the one VFX that is currently implemented is the fire. So just to confirm, anything else you're seeing is pretty much placeholder VFX. They've all been made.
Gotcha.
It's just a matter of getting them in there and making sure they're triggering correctly. Voice actors, we have already started doing it.
Nice.
Yeah, we're going to have shouts, barks, all them sort of things. Me and Josh are actually working together on that with our lore team as well. Pretty much, yes, it's going to be in, adding more flavor and feel to the game.
Very cool.
So yeah.
All right, tell me what to do here, because I'm a bit like I'm obviously going to want to attack, and you're saying that because the embers are there, I don't want to go back to the objective.
Yeah, you want to keep him in that for as long as you can. Yeah.
Okay.
So I would attack that, and then I would play the I'd play the Stormcaller, honestly. Like you're not going to get the freeze off. You do also have a lot of spells, but you're not going to get the freeze off anytime soon because he doesn't really have anything.
Yeah, it's not going to come in.
What you could do is just play him and just try and get him as close as you can because he does have 4 attack.
Yeah,
so
that's what I was thinking. Like, is it big body, like 4 damage? They're going to have to use a lightning strike or 2 lightning strikes or lightning strike and a minion to be able to get it, and it'd probably have to be ranged or that cavalry unit.
You're in a pretty good place.
Oh yeah, I mean I could tell that. Yeah, like we got the flames going, no minions on the board. But then, what could they do here? Is there something they could do here to kind of come back and?
So they could play a Splinter Blast, which is a 3-cost spell that does. It's a Beast Hunter spell that does 3 damage. It basically explodes all the trees, and it will do 3 damage to anything that's next to a tree, which is all of your things right now.
Yeah.
They could effectively board wipe you. They could also play Ruinous Madman, the 6 mana that does 3 damage to everything, but that obviously would damage their golem as well. So they'd have to have a pretty good backup plan after that point, or a way to heal in order to.
I was going to say, Golem heal would be great for them right now, just to try and eke out another couple of turns and maybe get some board control.
Right. There's that one that's heal for 2, heal your golem for 2, and then deal 2 damage to their golem.
Yeah, that's pretty much just saying, this is one more turn I have now to be able to do something. yeah, I mean, it's not looking good for them. I'm going to be
No.
honest. I think Josh has done you well here.
Oh, so there's that ruinous madman you're talking about. So
Yeah, he's sick.
now because of this being there, I can't attack their golem. So that's probably why they did that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I would say though, you can
5.
Lightning
one of
shock.
two things. You can either
Yeah.
lightning shock it or just teleport your
Wait.
unit behind it.
If I had a Billy up, I could have lightning strike the golem, Billy into ruinous madman, and it would have killed. I would have won
think
next turn.
You do have a Billy.
I do have a Billy. Wait.
Yeah, he's on the field.
Oh,
He's that
so
one.
wait. So this is lethal.
Yeah.
So I attack with this.
Yep.
That's gonna hit for 5. I hit with the lightning strike, and then I use the Billy, and we win.
You can even you can either rely on your golem to do the damage,
Oh,
or you
or
can just
this
kill
one
him with
can-
your full one.
Yes,
Yeah.
'cause it kills the
There
thing.
you go.
Because he has 4. Yeah, I forgot he had 4 health. Let's go. Okay.
Nice,
job, man.
man.
Good job.
Nice.
GG,
See, like that
GG.
felt good because it's like I'm understand now. I'm getting like those kind of like strategies like you're talking about, like using this, killing it off, not being on the objective the whole time. Because I think initially I was like, oh, I've got to try and always have someone on the objective, and now actually it worked in our benefit to not have them on the objective. That's interesting.
Yeah, definitely. And like we have thrown players into this game. You know, there's not a proper tutorial at the moment, and apart from having to read some docs or watch YouTube videos, we just kind of want people to play. And like you're saying there, what are people getting and what aren't people getting, and it will help us shape the tutorial when it's finally out as well. But yeah, GG, man.
Yeah, GG's. No,
Yeah,
it
good
definitely
game.
like that. That's how I like last night. I just kind of I was like, I'm just gonna go. I kind of watched the tutorial bit to just see what it looked like, but I think it is a game like that, and I think that's what Web3 games need: the ability to literally, if you're on the phone or you're on the computer, just pick it up and play it. Like you really should be able to just pick it up and play it. So yeah, I'm happy to see that you guys are at this point. Congratulations again for closed beta. I hope everything goes as smoothly as it has been already. And yeah, I can't wait to see what you guys put out.
Yeah, thank you, man. It's been nice hanging with you. We'll
for
do
sure.
it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
fun.
thanks for playing.
When
Thanks
we
for calling.
when we go live on Twitch, we'll definitely have you back, featuring on our side, and have some more behind the scenes tutoring maybe, or even playing against each other. That'd be really fun.
Yeah, no, for sure. I can't wait for it.
Awesome, man. Thanks for having us.
All right, thanks for coming. See you guys.
Yeah, see you, man. Have a
See
good
you
one.
later, man.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one.